Good morning to one and all. I'm honored to welcome you all today at the national webinar as we gather to celebrate a significant and remarkable occasion, Dyslexia Awareness Month. Throughout this month, we come together to recognize, embrace, and celebrate the unique strength and abilities of individuals with dyslexia. Dyslexia is not a limitation, it's a different way of thinking, a different way of perceiving the world, and a different way of learning. We should recognize that dyslexia doesn't define a person, it is just a part of their identity. These individuals have dreams, aspirations, and a desire to succeed just like anyone else. I and Nikita, along with Shamli, are extremely overwhelmed to have this opportunity to host today's national webinar organized by IQAC of Army Institute of Education celebrating Dyslexia Month on the theme Stronger Together. The world is full of a rainbow of different kind of minds, and we should value them all. And dyslexia is not a sign of unintelligence; it's a sign of having a different kind of mind. As John Rawls quoted, inclusion is not a matter of benevolence, but of social justice. So, by celebrating Dyslexia Awareness Month, we take a step towards a more inclusive society where everyone, regardless of their learning style, can thrive and reach their full potential. Now, I would like to begin the program by Saraswati Vandana, followed by the inaugural address by Dr. Abhilasha Gautam Ma'am, Principal of Army Institute of Education. Now, I request everyone to join their hands together and take the blessings of Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, to shower her blessings upon us by serving Saraswati Vandana.
मधुकैटवविध्वंसी विधात्री वरदे नमः रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दिशो जहि महिषासुरनिर्णाशि भक्तानां सुखदे नमः रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दिशो जहि निशुम्भ शुम्भ निर्णाशि त्रैलोक्य शुभदे नमः रूपं देहि जयं देहि यशो देहि दिशो जहि।
Good morning to one and all. I welcome Dr. Abhilasha Gautam Ma'am, Principal of AIE, to inaugurate this event with her insightful and enlightening thoughts. Over to Ma'am.
Thank you, Devika ma'am. Very good morning to one and all present here. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and participants, a very warm and heartfelt welcome to this national webinar dedicated to celebrating Dyslexia Awareness Month under the inspiring theme Stronger Together. In the spirit of unity, understanding, and inclusivity, we have come together today to commemorate Dyslexia Awareness Month, an occasion that calls for our collective attention and commitment. It is an honor to welcome such an esteemed and diverse audience, all of whom share a common dedication to raising awareness and supporting individuals with dyslexia. The theme Stronger Together resonates deeply with the core message of dyslexia awareness. It reminds us that in unity we find strength and in collaboration we discover our greatest potential. Today, we are not just here to acknowledge the challenges that people with dyslexia face, but also to celebrate their remarkable strengths and achievements. Throughout this national webinar, we will embark on a journey of enlightenment, empowerment, and empathy. We will listen to experts who will share their insights and experience. We will explore the pivot role that collaboration plays in supporting individuals with dyslexia in various aspects of their life. Our collective efforts here today will inspire change and drive progress. Together, we will strive to remove the barriers that hinders the progress of individuals with dyslexia and to build a more inclusive world that celebrates diversity. I encourage each and every one of you to actively participate, ask questions, and engage in meaningful discussions throughout this webinar. Let's make the most of this opportunity to learn, grow, and advocate for the rights and well being of those suffering with dyslexia. In conclusion, I extend my warmest welcome to all of you, and I am excited to embark on this enlightening journey with you, exploring the theme of Stronger Together during Dyslexia Awareness Month. Together, we can be the change that fosters a more inclusive and compassionate world. Thank you for joining us in this important endeavor. Once again, on behalf of entire AIE family, I welcome you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for these powerful and motivating thoughts to boost up the spirit of this national webinar on the theme Stronger Together to celebrate Dyslexia Awareness Month. Before proceeding ahead, I would like to throw light about the national seminar. As we all know, Dyslexia Awareness Month is typically observed in October, and it provides opportunity to raise awareness about dyslexia, a common learning disorder that affects the reading and spelling abilities of the learner. Dyslexia is a neurodevelopmental condition that primarily impacts an individual's ability to read, but can also affect writing, spelling, and even speaking. As a matter of fact, dyslexia is misunderstood learning disability that affects people from different walks of life. Through this national webinar on the occasion of Dyslexia Awareness Month, we would like to bring experts, educators, professionals, parents, and individuals with dyslexia to join hands to increase awareness and understanding regarding dyslexia and highlight the importance of early detection, intervention strategies with a focus to discuss the importance of dyslexia awareness and advocate for policies and practices to support individuals with and without dyslexia in education and the workplace. Furthermore, we will focus on the vital aspect of creating inclusive education and professional environment that supports individuals with learning disability. I hereby welcome all the experts and participants in this national webinar once again. And now I would like to call upon Shamli.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's start the sessions. For session one, the topic is legal provision for children with specific learning disability. I would like to request Dr. Naveen Singh sir. Sir is working as assistant professor in Department of Education at Hari Singh Sagar Vishwavidyalaya, Madhya Pradesh. Sir has done B.Ed Special, M.Ed Special Education, M.Sc Psychology, UGC NET, PhD in Education from Jamia Millia Islamia. He has 10 years of teaching experience at UG and PG levels. Sir has published two edited books, presented more than 25 research papers in various national and international conferences and journals, and published many research papers. Sir has guided a number of dissertations. Sir is a member of Visiting Expert Deputed by Rehabilitation Council of India, associated in developing integrated BA, BSc, BCom, B.Ed Special Education 4 years, integrated B.Ed, M.Ed Special Education on intellectual disability and specific learning disability, 3-year course curriculum duly approved by Rehabilitation Council of India. Dr. Naveen Singh Sir, also awarded by Kalyanam Karoti Award 2017 for his outstanding performance in the field of empowerment of people with disability. Welcome, sir. We are delighted to have you today as your presence enriches the essence of this gathering.
Hello, thank you, Shamli. Thank you, Abhilasha, madam, for inviting me for this, the topic on legal, uh, like uh, things, provisions for students having specific learning disability. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for creating your own Saraswati Vandana by the help of your pre-service and in-service teachers. So, my request to all the participants, you please take good things from the Army Institute of Education, because every time I am taking a new thing from your organization, madam. And I would like to congratulate Komal, Chaudhary, and Devika, because whatever we have taught them, they are like implementing the same thing as we want. So, Saraswati Vandana, and I have also seen your ma'am sign language national anthem, which is developed and created by the pre-service teachers and guided by the Komal Chaudhary. Because Government of India is having the role model for all the training institutions, and in as per my knowledge, Indian Sign Language Research Training and Institute, they have developed the national anthem in Indian Sign Language, and you have created your own. So like local for vocal, you are promoting the vision of Honorable Prime Minister and Atmanirbhar Bharat as well. So come to the topic, like legal provision. My request to all the participants, all the teachers, as well as the parents also, because you are the stakeholders. You are directly interacting with the students and their parents. And I personally know that parents are not aware about the legal provision, even though the teachers are also not aware about the legal provision. And we are blaming on government, state government and central government. They are not doing anything for the field for the disabilities. It is not like that. Government of India, signed on the document UNCRPT. That is not a very simple document. Whatever we are looking nowadays, that is the outcome of UNCRPT. For example, Article number 24 in UNCRPD is about the inclusive education. Earlier we talked about the integrated education, and before that we talked about the special education in 1995 Act. Second thing, the Article number 9 is about the accessibility. So in 2015, Government of India, Honorable Prime Minister launched the Accessible India campaign. So nowadays, whatever we are looking towards the railway station, bus stand, airports, these all are the outcome of Accessible India campaign only. Whatever the accessibility features we have in our mobile phones, because we are talking about the disability, and we know they have the different ability, and we as a teacher, we have to recognize their abilities, we have to promote their abilities. Because uh, very simple example, because provision is not only in the document, provision is there in your mobile phone also. While we texting a message, we just record our message and just send it to the concerned person. Even my daughter is also doing the same thing. She is searching the favorite songs on the YouTube, because she is only 2 years old, and she just typing the thing, and just recording is on, and the things are displayed on the mobile phones. So the same thing we have to implement, and we have to make them habitual, their parents as well as the students with disabilities. But again, we have to see the proper age level also. It is not like that we initially we just provide the mobile phone and we just leave them out. Second thing, we have Right to Education Act, because today I am not going to detailed about the what is Right to Education Act, what is UNCRPT, and what is the Accessible India campaign. In Right to Education Act, there is it is a fundamental rights of each and every child, including children with dyslexia, because today is the day, we are celebrating dyslexia, and we know that what is disability and what are the different types of disabilities. Yeah, as per RPWD Act, we have 21 types of disabilities, including specific learning disability. And there are subcategories of SLD as having dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyslexia. In the another session, you will get the in-depth of information about these types of specific learning disability. But dyslexia, what do you think? What is dyslexia? You just tell me. Anybody? You can unmute your mic. Any idea?
So disability of not reading, not able to read properly.
Right. Right. Difficulties in reading, dyslexia, and then writing, and then in the mathematical calculations. So there are major three types of disabilities. But the major thing is we are not aware about the simple common terms disability. It is not like that, like in the railway stations also, generally we see that the person is having amputated leg and they are begging. Even though we know the person comes under the category of disability, but they do not have the disability certificate, so we cannot say that the person is having the disability legally. So यहाँ पे the terms comes legally. Legally means the person should have a legal document in terms of the disability certificate, which is like issued by the central government and the state government medical hospitals with the group of the professionals. Second thing, like we all have the UDI, we have the Aadhaar card, right? Similarly, students having disability and the persons having disability, they must have the UDID card, that is unique disability identity card. It is mandated by the central government. It is mandated by the central government, and without UDID card, in future or maybe right now also they are not eligible to take any type of concessions benefits provided by the central government as well as the state government. So now it is the responsibility of the stakeholders, you as a professionals, please guide the parents, the students, that you should make your UDID card plus disability card plus an IQ certification if it is required. Second thing, without having all these three documents, do not label the child is having this type of disability. Always focus on the abilities of the children, because nowadays we are focusing about the multiple intelligence. As per NEP 2020, we should be focused about the multidisciplinary approach. Earlier it was there that if the students are not very good in mathematics, then we consider that the child is having this low learner and all these things. And we including me also, like we created like the phobia on the student that you should complete your 10th and 12th with the mathematics subjects. So my humble request to all the participants, CBSE is providing the choices of the subjects. Please do not force on the limited subjects like Hindi, English, Math, Sanskrit, and all. Second thing, if the child opted like music, science, or any other subjects, dance, drama, home science, in the higher education also there is a choices of the subjects. They can opt their career in the music, in the dance, in the drama, because these are the specific special abilities of persons with disabilities. But you as a teacher, you have to recognize, you have to celebrate each and every days of the disabilities. Like Army Institute of Education, I am very happy that they are regularly celebrating each and every month of the disabilities, just to create the awareness among the professionals, among the pre-service teachers also. So these things are very much needed in the field of disability, because we are very poor in the creation of the awareness. The things are there, like government of India, they have created the UDID card. Government of India, they have created the disability certificate. Now the disability certificate of the Gautam Buddha Nagar, it is like applicable in the Madhya Pradesh also. So one disability card is applicable. We are focusing on one nation and one ration card and all. Similarly, the government of India recognizes that the one disability card, it is applicable in throughout the country. Earlier, it was a very big problem that the persons with disability from the Madhya Pradesh state, they are not eligible to get the concessions and schemes from the other states. But nowadays, it is applicable throughout the country. But the thing is, whether they have the disability certificate or not. So, if any of the students are there in your school, please make a document, separate file of that particular child, and make sure that the copy of UDID card, copy of Aadhaar, copy of disability certificate, and copy of like IQ certificate should be there. Second thing, you please prepare a list of the schemes and exemptions and concessions which is applicable for students with disabilities. As per CBSE, like there are concessions are available at three levels, and we should be aware about all the three levels. The concessions are common, but it is applicable at different level. The first level is concessions and legal provisions as per the CBSE board, concessions and legal provisions as per the NIOS. Because please do not force the student, you please complete your 10th and 12th, and please guide the parents as well. If the child is not able to cope up with your regular system, please guide the parents and the student. There is a separate options of National Institute of Open Schooling, and that is also as per the under the Ministry of Education. It is not like that Dr. Naveen Singh is providing the that certification that is provided by the government of India. So there is no if and but. With the help of NIOS certification, also they can take the admission in the higher education in any of the university because that degree is also recognized. So the third level is about the schemes and benefits and the legal concessions in the higher education. Please do not guide the students only up to the class 12th. You should be aware about what are the other things are available in the higher education because dyslexia, they do not have any difficulty related to the IQ. It means they are equal with others. They are facing some difficulties in the reading. So that type of things we can have the substitute of the reading as well. We can have the audio things. Nowadays, the textbooks are available in the audio forms. आपको कुछ नहीं करना. You just log in on the NCERT website and please download the textbooks in the audio forms. You can please download the textbooks in the Indian Sign Languages. The things are available. There is a separate module on the Indian Sign Languages. Like it is uploaded on the ISLRTC website. The things are available free of cost. You please make a folder on your desktop. You please make a file on your in your resource room, and please guide the students and the parents time to time. Then we have like three things are there. Like 25% seats are reserved as per
Sir,
the.
sorry to disturb you, but your PPT is not visible.
I
Please
have
show
not
it again, sir.
displayed my PPT till now. Now I am going to display my PPT.
Okay, okay, thank you, sir.
So, as per RPWD Act, as per Right to Education Act, 25% seats are reserved for children belongs from disadvantaged group. Nowadays, disadvantage included SC, ST, minority, children with disabilities, as well as gifted and transgender. So all the group of students, they comes under the category of children with disadvantaged group. So please utilize that reservation of 25% in your own schools, because many of the parents, they are facing difficulties in while having the admissions of their children in the schools are denying to give the admissions. If any of the schools are denying to give the admissions to any of the children having the disabilities because of the lack of the resources, because of they do not have the special educator, they do not have the accessible ramps, lifts. So that is the responsibility of the school authority and management. It is not the responsibility of a children. Children have the right to get the education in the nearby schools. If any of the schools are denying to give the admission, you please approach to your own state. In your own state, there is a state commissioner for persons with disabilities. Second thing, at the central level also, there is a chief commissioner for persons with disabilities. And you can also approach to your district education officer that the schools are not giving admission to the children because even though they have the right to get the education in the nearby schools. So that's why the demand of special educators is there. Like every school and CBSE mandate that school should have the special educators, but we do not have that number of qualified special educators as per the Rehabilitation Council of India. So for that we have to wait. And Army Institute of Education also doing the very good thing that they are preparing a qualified human resources in the field of special education. Second thing, when we talk about the rights of persons with disabilities Act 2016, as per the RPWD Act, 5% seats, because see, as per the in the school level, 25% seats are reserved. In the higher education, 5% seats are reserved. In the in any of the universities and colleges. So please guide the parents so that the persons with disability they utilize their own reservation to get the admission. Like we have the reserved seats for unreserved SC, ST, OBC. So there is a separate reservation of persons with disabilities in the higher education as well. So that we have to utilize. Second thing, from where we should get the disability certificate. So as per the CBSE, they have the provision of yeah, getting the certificate. Is the PPT visible? Hello.
Yes, sir, it is visible now.
Okay, the first thing is that the parent they get the disability certificate from any of the government hospitals located in your own area. Second, they can get the disability certificate from the any of the national institutes. In India, as per the under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, we have total 9 national institutes working in the field of disability. So the parent they can get their own they can get the disability certificates of their child from any of the national institutes. Plus, under the national institute, we have like several composite regional centers and the regional centers. Like in Delhi, we have in the field of intellectual disability and hearing impairment. In Noida, we have the regional centers. In Delhi, we have for locomotor disability. We have the National Institute for the physically handicapped. So that institute is there. And second is third is any reputed non-government organizations as well as practitioners registered with the RCI, central government, state government of the respective state. They can also issue the disability certificate, and the certificate issued by the competent authority at any place shall be accepted. So again, my request to all the professionals, please do not guide the parents to get the disability certificate, IQ certificate, and UD and like any other type of certificate from any of the private organizations because they are very costly, and that organization are not very authentic as well, because we have to believe on the government of India certification. We have to recommend the child and parent you please get the certificate from the government of India organizations only, there. The second thing is we have the in a summary form we have like uh, 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 extra time is there for students having any type of disability if the child is needed extra time, like as per RPW, because CBSE like accepted and they have extended their provision from 7 types of disabilities to 21 types of disabilities if the child is available in your schools. So flexibility of 30 minutes for 1 to 1.5 hours duration of exam. Then 2 hours duration exam, we can provide 40 minutes, 2 to 2.5, 50 minutes, and 3 hours we can provide the 60 minutes of duration. So these are the like extra time facilities are there that we have to utilize while teaching and while having the assessment and evaluation in the board exams. Then we have the facilities of the scribe, because we have to see that the child is difficulties in the reading. Then we can have the options of all these things. we can have the options of like scribe. Like what is scribe? If the child is not able to write the things by themselves, we can provide the one assistance, one helper, so that the students with disability, they can dictate their questions because they are difficulty in writing. So government of India, they have provided the provision of scribe for students with disabilities. Then we have and the the scribe should have one level lower qualification of from the at the at par with the students who are appearing in the examination. For example, if the students are in the class 12 level, so the scribe you may take it from the class 7, 8, 9, 10th and 11. So their level should be low as per their class. Then candidates will be allowed to change the scribe or reader in case of any emergency. It is not like that once the scribe has been approved, you cannot change the scribe. As per the situation, you can make the request to the concerned authority and you have the provision of changing of the scribe as well in your schools. Center Superintendent of the Examination Center concerned shall forward to the concerned regional office of the board the request of the scribe. Suitable room shall be arranged for the candidates for whom a scribe is allowed. It is not like that you can have the scribe in the common classroom setup. You can have the separate classroom setup, and a separate assistant superintendent shall also be appointed by the center superintendent to supervise his or her examination. Services of scribe shall be provided free of cost. The scribe shall be paid remuneration by the center superintendent as per the CBSE norms. Plus, we can have the different answer books of differently able candidates are sent separately by the center superintendent. Portable video magnifiers is also allowed for visually impaired candidates if available. Computer is also permissible. So, computer or laptop is also allowed during the examination, but that computer does not have the internet connectivity. Simple computer is allowed. Then after that, use of computers shall be limited to only for typing answers, for viewing the questions in the enlarged font size, for listening the questions. With the help of computer, we can enlarge the text size as well as per our needs. So the same feature is also available in your mobile phones. जब हम number save करते हैं, so as per our convenient, we just enlarge the text or decrease the font size as well, so that the text should be comfortable. So the same feature is available in the should be available in the computer, so that the student with disability, they can utilize that thing. The candidate shall have used the computer laptop for the purpose of which permission has been taken. Like which model the students are going to use that type of computer in the examination system, that model should be approved by the concerned center superintendent. It is not like that any of the computers you may allow to give the examination. That computers should be approved by the concerned center superintendent. Provision of reader is also there to read the question papers in case the student with disability does not want scribe facility. If the candidate does not want scribe facility, there is a provision of reader. Then registration and examination fees will not be charged if the child is having any kind of disability. And there is the choices of the subjects also. Like the candidates with disabilities as defined in RPWD Act have the options of studying one compulsory language as against two. Like we have the two compulsory languages, the provisions are there, but for disabilities they can opt any one, and they can have the choices of the subjects also, like math, science, social science, language, music, painting, home science. जैसा मैंने आपको बताया कि there are n number of options of the subjects are available nowadays, and the same options of subjects are also available in the higher education. पहले क्या था कि वी हैव ओनली द ऑप्शंस ऑफ मेडिकल एंड इंजीनियर, मेडिकल डॉक्टर्स एंड इंजीनियर्स, बट नाउअडेज वी हैव द ऑप्शंस ऑफ सो मेनी थिंग्स. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने बस उसको डॉक्टर ही बनाना है या इंजीनियर ही बनाना है। अब जो है बहुत सारे प्रोफेशनल्स की मतलब स्कोप्स आ गए हैं। आपको अकॉर्डिंगली यू कैन गाइड, क्योंकि यू हैव टू मेक सम बेस फ्रॉम द स्कूल ऑनवर्ड्स। आप स्टार्टिंग से ही बच्चे का बेस आप बनाइए। इफ द चाइल्ड इज वेरी गुड इन म्यूजिक, यू प्लीज प्रमोट दैट द स्किल्स ऑफ द music. We have the provision, we have the like undergraduate and postgraduate courses in music, and there is a like availability of jobs in the government setup and the private setup also. So it is not like that just to complete the class 10th and class 12th with the help of any of the subjects, because you are the teacher, you are the guide, you are the facilitators, and you know better about your children. Because अगर आप एक बार उसको चॉइसेस ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स दे दिए और बच्चा उससे प्रोसीड कर गया, तो फिर बैक आना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा। और एक बार जब बच्चे की लाइफ में वो टाइम निकल जाता है, तो वापस वो टाइम लौट करके नहीं आता है। और जब बच्चा आपके गाइडेंस के थ्रू अगर कुछ बन के निकल जाता है, तो लाइफ टाइम आपका एहसान नहीं भूलेगा। तो ऐसे बहुत सारे अभी एग्जाम्पल्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं। आजकल आजकल यूपीएससी में भी द पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज दे हैव द रिजर्वेशन एंड दे आर क्लियरिंग द इंडियाज टफेस्ट एग्जामिनेशन। तो अगर आप एज ए स्पेशल एजुकेटर, एज ए काउंसलर अगर उनको सपोर्ट ना करते, तो शायद आज वो उस लेवल तक ना पहुंच पाते। तो वो सारी चीज़ें हमें कहीं न कहीं अपने को इंटरलिंक करना है, ध्यान देना है। एंड वी हैव द लाइक अल्टरनेट क्वेश्चन पेपर्स। देखिए, अब यहाँ पे कहीं न कहीं करिकुलम एडाप्टेशंस की बात भी है, क्योंकि हम सिर्फ उसको एग्जामिनेशन से लिंक नहीं कर सकते। अगर आपने उसको पढ़ाया ही नहीं है, तो फिर अल्टरनेट क्वेश्चंस देने का कोई मतलब नहीं है। अगर आपने उसको अल्टरनेट क्वेश्चंस दे करके उसकी अगर प्रैक्टिस आपने कराया है, कंटेंट को सिंप्लीफाई किया है, अडॉप्ट किया है, एकोमोडेट किया है, then there is a like matter of providing the alternate questions. So there are so many things you can provide for the student. Like alternate type questions are provided in lieu of questions having visual inputs for CWS in candidates in the subject of English, communication, social science. Separate questions papers with enlarged font size are provided in the subjects of mathematics and science. And then we have the okay, there is a like big doubt and questions like how to avail all the concessions provided by the CBSE. So there is SOP, standard operation procedures, that we have to follow. First, parents, they have to give the request to the concerned principals, and parents get the child examined by the competent medical authority to get the disability and medical certificates. Second thing, like बार बार ये क्वेश्चन आता है कि like what will be the criteria of having a disability in the school. So the student should have Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I will share my PPT with some important documents in your group. So please do not worry about the PPT.
Yes, sir.
So there are we have to follow the SOP which is given by the CBSE, but the minimum requirement is the candidate should have the UDID card, disability certificate, and IQ certificate plus Aadhaar card. Plus there is a having the some summary sheet which is provided by the CBSE. I'm just going to share that summary sheet, that the specific learning disability, because the CBSE is having the separate 21 types of disability exemptions and concessions. So for specific learning disability, there is a flexibility in choosing the subjects is applicable. Relaxation of attendance on request, that facility is also available. Exemptions in studying second language is there. Then reader, adult, prompter, scribe is should be provided as per the CBSE. Examination room should be on ground floor, so that thing should be there as per the CBSE guidelines in the schools. You please make sure. Options of skill-based subjects, it is also available and applicable for students having a specific learning disability. There are separate provisions are there. Many of the provisions are common as in NIOS also, National Institute of Open Schooling. But like 20 minutes per hour, it 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 is like allowed as per the National Institute of Open Schooling. If any of the students having disabilities, if they are appearing in the examinations, plus scribe facility, it is also there in the NIOS. A fee of rupees 100 per session of examination will be given to the writer per learner with disabilities by the center superintendent of the examinations. Then uses of computers are allowed. Means they can use the computers, they can also use the calculator as well in the examinations as per the CBSE. Sitting arrangement and other support should be there, like wheelchair, it should be there in your school. And the examination of the children with disability should be on the ground floor, and that room should be accessible with good color and contrast, good lighting, good ventilations. The building should be accessible and proper ramp should be there, should be available. And the center superintendent will make arrangement to seat maximum of 4 students in a separate examination room with a separate invigilator for the supervision. So these are the provisions as per the NIOS. And in the sitting arrangement, like provision to write the examination in the ground floor, wheelchair should be there for the mobility impaired learners. In case the examination room is inaccessible, provision of ramps, accessible washrooms, provision for single room for learners with specific learning disability with separate one invigilator. Then caregivers or caretakers are also allowed during the examinations, and it is permitted by the NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. If the candidates are giving the examinations as per the rules and regulations of NIOS, so the caretaker and caregivers are permissible. They can give the help if the child is needed during the examinations. And that caretaker only to just motivate and provide the support, not to provide the hint or the questions or the prompts. And many of the scholarships are available for students with disabilities nowadays under the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities, under Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Like there are separate schemes like e-metric scholarship for students with disabilities. and that pre-matrix scholarship covered like class 9th and class 10th. So like number of scholarship per year, it is given by like 46,000, and parental income it should be below 2 lakhs. Post matric scholarship for students with disabilities, that is class 11 to master's degree or up to the diploma level. Like number of the scholarship, it is available like 16,650, and parental income should be 2 lakhs 50,000. Scholarship for top class education for students with disabilities. The courses covered like postgraduate degree or diploma in 240 notified institutions of excellence. Number of scholarship per year is 160. Parental income should be below 6 lakhs. National overseas scholarship for students with disabilities like master degree or doctorate degree in foreign universities. Number of scholarship provided per year is 20, and parental income it should be below 6 lakhs. Apart from these, like we have JRF, we have the UGC net scholarship for students having disabilities. There is a separate coachings for the competitive examinations like Jamia Millia Islamia and other reputed organizations. They are providing free of cost coaching to the students with the disabilities. And in the JRF, in the net also, there is no like limit of the parents income. Any of the persons and persons with disabilities, they can clear their competitive examinations and they can also avail the scholarship. And the same thing is there in the higher education also. Like in the higher education, 5% seats are reserved in the university setup. First thing. Second thing, in the university, as per the UGC, there is a like a separate equal opportunity cell to facilitate the admission process, examination, assessment, scholarship. It should be available, it should be there in the university. University should be accessible, keeping in mind the need of persons with disabilities. I know the time is like 10:57, just give me 1 minute. And like facilitation center, it should be there as per the UGC in the higher education institutions. Plus the curriculum should be accessible. The evaluation should be as per the need of the persons with disabilities who are studying in the higher education. uh, then so these all are the like some major schemes, benefits and concessions for students with disabilities. And in the school setup also, if you have more number of students with disabilities, you can have separate facilitation centers especially dedicated for students with disabilities. You can have the counseling centers, you can have the mentor mentee systems. It should be there to promote the education of students with disabilities. You can have the peer tutoring, you can promote the peer tutoring practices also. It is a teaching strategies for students with disabilities. So there are n number of things are there, but you should prepare a document which is like given by the government of India, the state government, and plus you can have your own separate facilitation centers and the records in your computers and in your resource room centers. So thank you very much for inviting me related to these legal provisions for students with dyslexia. But my request is the legal provisions are not only for the dyslexia. The legal provisions nowadays, it is applicable for all the 21 types of disabilities which is prescribed and mentioned under the RPWD Act 2016. Thank you very much.
Sir, before concluding, we have queries. So, those who have queries, Priya,
Yes, yes, please.
Miss Priya, you can address your query to the sir.
Yes, Priya ma'am.
Priya, ma'am, are you there? You can unmute yourself.
Please unmute, madam.
Miss Chitra Kannan. Miss Chitra Kannan. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah,
Pranam
yeah,
everyone.
this is Chitra Kannan.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
yeah, I just want to ask you, sir, calculator is available for SLD students can be allowed to use calculator in their 10th standard and 12th standard board exams, right, in CBSE for math and science subjects?
So please
Hello,
unmute yourself. Yes.
hello.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ma'am, the provision is there as per the CBSE. I
Okay.
will, I will share that circular and detailed document with the Komal and Devika. They will share in the groups.
Yeah,
And
thank
there
you,
is
sir.
a separate legal circular and document of NIOS, and there is a
Okay.
separate legal document of UGC. All three documents I will share with the Komal and Devika, and they will share with you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Devika.
So there is no doubt of like providing all these things. If the documents are there, you please use that, utilize that facilities.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Pranam
ma'am.
sir, Priya this side. Sir, I just want to ask, as you told that these all concessions are given to all the 21 categories of RPWD. But I am in an inclusive setup in Delhi, and we are following the circular of April 12, 2019. It says that
Hmm.
a computer facility and waiving of fee will not be given to SLD.
See,
So
no,
if
no,
you
no,
have
no,
any
no.
new
Oh,
document
no,
which
one
says,
thing. No, no. I would like to clarify your doubt, Priya ma'am. There is a separate table of each
yes sir, yes sir.
of 21 types of disabilities, and that table you should have you should follow.
Yes, sir,
That
page
table is
number.
there.
Yes, sir, there is separate table and पेज नंबर 14 पे SLD दी हुई है सारे टाइप्स. अगर
जी.
आप उसको चेक करेंगे तो कंप्यूटर फैसिलिटीज में देयर इज ओनली डैश, फी वेविंग में भी डैश है और कैलकुलेटर फैसिलिटी भी नहीं है. लास्ट टाइम वी फेस्ड दिस प्रॉब्लम.
Actually, as per the need of the need and requirement of the children with disabilities, you have to request to the concerned authority because
सर वी
concern.
डोंट
See,
लिसन सर, सीबीएसई
wait,
डजंट लिसन. वो कहते हैं कि जो हमको रूल में दिया हुआ है वो हमें सीबीएसई का सर्कुलर दिखा देते हैं कि
that is
ओनली
true.
इट विल
That
बी
is true.
फॉलोड.
That is true. That is true, madam. That is true. Like for example, scribe facility.
दैट विल बी
Like
गिवन.
then, for example, ma'am, scribe facility it will not applicable the students who do not have any kind of problems or difficulties while writing, or the like extra time. It is not like that. It will be provided to all the kind of disabilities who are having any kind of challenges and problems. So see, we have to follow whatever the guidelines and provisions it is listed, documented in the CBSE circular.
So it means these are different for different categories of
Yes,
disability.
different. Because, ma'am, like the need of the dwarfism, it will be totally different from the need of the children having deaf or the speech and impairment. Because the children who are leprosy cured, they are also a candidate of having the disability. So their need will be totally different. For the leprosy cured person, they need a scribe, but for the dwarfism may they not need a scribe. So because that circular is being prepared by the expert of the professionals, and it is signed by the concerned authority, and that we have to follow.
Thank you, sir. It means calculator will be given only to students who are having this calculia.
Yes ma'am. Yes,
Dyslexia,
yes
dysgraphia,
ma'am. Yes ma'am.
they will
Yes
not be
ma'am. Yes
given.
ma'am.
Thank you,
See,
sir.
ma'am, see. If the need will not be there, and if we will providing the exemptions, they will be totally dependent upon your exemptions only. They will not be independent in their own life. So
सर आई
that we
हैव अ
have to
रिक्वेस्ट
see.
हेयर. सर आई हैव अ रिक्वेस्ट हेयर, अगर आपका कहीं भी कुछ ऐसा है एक्सेस जो ये आपकी पॉलिसीज बनाते हैं उनके लिए, वी आर हैविंग 9 विजुअली impaired स्टूडेंट्स इन आर inclusive setup and they are very good, they are very intelligent, they are doing their work only on laptop. हमने उनको ब्रेल पे सेट नहीं करा. सेकंड क्लास तक देवर ऑल ब्रेल, अब नाउ दे आर यूजिंग लैपटॉप. सर जहां पर मैथ्स का प्रॉब्लम होता है, मैथ्स दे आर जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं कहीं ना कहीं मैथ्स की कैलकुलेशन में बहुत टाइम लगता है. सो द टाइम पीरियड विच इज गिवन 1 hour एक्स्ट्रा दैट इज नॉट एनफ फॉर मैथ्स एग्जाम. अगर आपका कहीं भी एक्सेस है ऐसा जहाँ पे पॉलिसी
मैम
मेकर है
मैम
तो आप प्लीज ये रिक्वेस्ट रखिएगा हमारी तरफ
मैम
से.
see for the blind person there is a like a braille, and for the mathematics calculations like they can use the abacus, क्योंकि
सर बट अबैकस सर दे आर हैविंग देयर ट्रेलर फ्रेम जिसमें वो टाइप्स के साथ करते हैं, बट इट्स अ टाइम टेकिंग कंसेप्ट. 10th में और 12th में आप देखो बच्चों को मैथ्स करने में, हमारे बोर्ड एग्जाम के स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको बहुत टाइम लगता है. सर हमें ही इतना फील होता है कि वो
मैम
कैसे कर रहे हैं टाइप्स के साथ कैलकुलेशन, और 1 hour बहुत कम पड़ जाता है उनको.
मैम मेरी मेरी जो है रिक्वेस्ट है आपकी, मैं बात समझ गया, बट मेरी आप बात समझिए कि अगर सीबीएसई ने अगर चॉइसेस ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स दिया है, देन यू
और
कैन
बच्चे को पीसीएमबी लेना है, ही इज वेरी
हाँ, दैट
इंटेलिजेंट.
इज दैट इज दैट
पेरेंट्स
इज
डोंट वांट टू
डिफरेंट
लीव दैट मैथ्स एंड
थिंग मैम
साइंस.
मैम मैम दैट इज ओके एंड दैट इज डिफरेंट थिंग. अगर कोई बच्चा कमजोर भी होता है तो उसको हम कोचिंग कराते हैं, उसको ट्यूशन
We are
कराते हैं,
providing
राइट.
2 subjects
हाँ,
option, different
तो
subjects we are providing.
इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट कि सीबीएसई ने अगर ऑप्शंस दे दिया है तो उसको हम फोर्सफुल्ली या फिर उससे
हाँ सर,
रिक्वेस्ट के थ्रू हम
जबरदस्ती
उसको
बिल्कुल नहीं
चॉइसेस
करते
दे
हैं.
दें. वो चीज़ नहीं करना है, क्योंकि अगर आप वो चीज़ कर भी लोगे तो फिर बच्चा आगे आगे चल के द चाइल्ड विल फेस द डिफिकल्टीज, बिकॉज उसका
सर
इंटरेस्ट ही
बच्चे
नहीं
का एम
रहेगा.
है आई ही हैज टू जॉइन आईआईटी, तो हम पीसीएमबी के लिए मना ही नहीं कर सकते उसको
नहीं,
बिल्कुल भी.
करना भी नहीं
तो
चाहिए
मैथ्स में
मैडम. अगर
ही इज फेसिंग लॉट्स ऑफ प्रॉब्लम इन टाइम ड्यूरेशन ड्यूरिंग एग्जाम्स, क्योंकि इट टेक्स टाइम, ये
मुझे
रियलिटी है. कोई
नहीं
सॉफ्टवेयर
मैं
ऐसा नहीं है अभी तक
मैम
जिनके.
सॉफ्टवेयर इज देयर लाइक एनवीडीए सॉफ्टवेयर इज
सर
देयर दैट इज फ्री
एनपीडीए
ऑफ
सर
कॉस्ट.
दैट इज नॉट ओनली फॉर मैथ सर, वो रीड
नहीं
करता
फॉर
है जो आप कर
नहीं
रहे
नहीं
हो.
मैथ्स के लिए नहीं है. मैथ्स
नहीं
के
है
लिए
सर.
यू कैन हैव वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ वर्कशीट्स, वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ लाइक फ्री सॉफ्टवेयर्स आर देयर. उसके थ्रू आप एज पर द लेवल, एज पर द क्लास, यू कैन हैव द मोर एंड मोर प्रैक्टिसेस, जिसमें ऑडियो इनपुट्स भी है, वीडियो इनपुट्स भी है, ग्राफिक्स भी है, एनिमेशंस भी है. ये थोड़ा सा आपको करना होगा.
नहीं
और
नहीं
प्लस
सर वी आर joined with Saksham NGO which is only for visually impaired.
यस
They
यस सक्षम इज
themselves are
देयर.
facing this problem. उनके पास भी अभी ऐसा कोई सॉफ्टवेयर अवेलेबल नहीं हो रहा जो मैथ्स में पूरी हेल्प कर दे, नहीं है.
ओके ओके.
कहीं ना कहीं पता नहीं प्रॉब्लम, हम 9 स्टूडेंट्स के साथ हैं तो हमें पता है वो जेन्युइन क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे हैं.
No, actually, ma'am, actually, Komal and Devika, they are doing their research work, and they may take a research like topic on the same, whatever the challenges the child is facing. They in future they may develop their like separate softwares to help the
ओके,
students who are
थैंक यू.
having these type of disabilities.
मैं दोनों
So
से रिक्वेस्ट
Komal,
करूंगी अगर कुछ
Komal,
ऐसा कुछ भी वो
yes,
करते हैं
yes,
तो प्लीज ग्रुप
Komal,
में शेयर करें उसको.
Komal, you may select a topic which is like very challenging and which is very need based also for students with disabilities.
Sure.
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू कोमल और देविका मैम.
Actually, madam, these all are things required a lot of like researches. We cannot implement and we cannot
Yes, sir,
say.
definitely we
If
require.
if any of the things like you are using for a student with disability and that is very useful for that particular child, you please use that particular separate teaching methods and teaching strategies, because it is not like that कि अगर मैंने 10 चीजें बताई हैं तो वही 10 चीजें आप अपने क्लासेस में यूज करते रहेंगे. एंड फॉर ब्लाइंड लाइक वी हैव द बीआरए, वी हैव द सक्षम. ये एक रेप्यूटेड एनजीओज हैं जो वर्क कर रहे हैं फॉर स्टूडेंट्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज. यू कैन अप्रोच देम ऑल्सो. यू मे टेक असिस्टेंस एंड गाइडेंस like these are the challenges the child is facing. You please suggest some substitute options. Yes, any other questions?
Any other query?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Mrs. Sharda Singh.
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You are very much audible. Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead.
Is there any age limit to make disability card, sir? Because
No,
many
ma'am.
parents
No,
are
no, no,
not
no. There is,
aware of this
ma'am,
facility.
ma'am, there is no age limit to
Okay.
make that disability card, and that disability card is the name is UDID card, and there is no age limit and there is no fees as well. It is free of cost.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
And government is also like having some camps to just provide the UDID card and disability certificate. Abhilasha madam is there.
Yes, sir.
So,
Abhilasha ma'am, you may approach and you may request to the district social welfare officer and request them to make a center of of preparing this UDID and disability certificate card in your Army Institute of Education, and you may prepare and provide that UDID card of your particular Greater Noida districts, or you may collaborate with different schools of the students with disabilities, and you may request that total number like 50 or 60 students are there, and you may approach them to please provide the facility of preparing the UTID card at one go, under one roof.
Right, sir. Suggestion taken, sir. Thank you. We'll do
So
that.
thank you very much. I think Ram sir is waiting, eagerly waiting to take the another sessions, and I have to leave for the another meeting. So thank you very much, Abhilasha madam, Devika, and Komal Chaudhary for inviting me on the very interesting topic. That topic is very very close to my heart, to train the teachers and to create the awareness. The same thing I am also doing here this Sagar University. Recently, I have conducted one awareness workshop on rights of persons with disabilities in collaboration with National Human Rights Commission. Abhilasha madam, you may also request to NHRC to give the grant for creating awareness on the rights of persons with disabilities.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining and thank you for such an insightful session. Thank you
Thank you, ma'am.
so much, sir. And of course, we will be in your touch for all your creative ideas to support this community, sir. Thank you so much for being
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. I would like to express
एक घंटे की होती है ना मीटिंग एंड हो गई जल्दी करो
रिटर्न टू होता है फिर से कर दोगे उसको
रिटर्न टू होम से
नहीं नहीं नहीं
तो सब मेरा
नहीं मैंने ज्वाइन करा दिया आ तो गए सब लोग
सर मैं भी नहीं हूँ मेरा भी तो कर दो
सब आ गए
बिना कुछ दबाए दबाओ क्या कुछ
There was a small technical glitch. Request everyone to please rejoin.
I'm so sorry, there was a bit of technical glitch. And yes, as he was host. So now I would like
शिवानी को बॉल्स में लगा
Devika ma'am, we should start.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your patience for waiting. And again, I would like to thank Naveen sir I would like to express my profound gratitude and to extend a heartfelt thanks to Sir for sharing his valuable advice and insight with us today. The expertise and knowledge we have gained from you, Sir, have been invaluable, and we are truly privileged to have had the opportunity to learn from someone with such deep understanding and experience in legal provision and guidelines for children with specific learning disability. Now, over to Shamli. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now moving to session 2 on introduction to specific learning disability and comorbid condition. I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Shankar Saxena, sir. Sir is presently working at MIT Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences as Associate Professor. Sir has done all his educational qualification from Rohilkhand University, Bareilly, and doctorate degree also from MJP Rohilkhand University, Bareilly. I warmly welcome you, sir, to share your valuable views and thoughts.
Thank you, Shamli. Thank you, Army Institute of Education, Abhilasha Madam, Komal and Devika for inviting me here and organizing such a very important webinar, because in this month of the Dyslexia Awareness or Learning Disability Awareness Month, as a special educator, it's our responsibility to create awareness among population to know about the learning disability, challenges of the learning disability, and help the students and parents them to overcome the challenges of these things. Naveen sir has taken a very good session, and I also thank whole Army Institute of Education team for regularly conducting awareness and different innovative, informative sessions for students as well as stakeholders. I have seen every time on Devika's, Komal's and Abhilasha ma'am's WhatsApp how much they are organizing different programs related to the disability, and they are creating awareness among general teachers also, because they are running both B.Ed programs, special education as well as general education. So if you are organizing such type of events, such type of programs, indirectly you are giving opportunity to the other students of the other programs to get aware about disability. And as we all are aware, the awareness towards the disability challenges is very less in India. Now we have Right of Person with Disabilities Act, which has 21 disabilities. But if you go interior areas, you will find people are not aware about the acts, about the policies. Even they does not have basic information about the disabilities. In present era, they are using terms of early era, 50-year, 70-year before, which they think similarly they are thinking in this present time also. So if you are, many times we have seen, if somebody we are introducing this, we are from the special education, they ask, what is this? What is this type of B.Ed? How much opportunities, job opportunities, employment opportunities are available after doing this type of B.Ed or in this field? Are the persons which are suffering from such type of disability challenges are able to cope up with these challenges, or they can live independently in the society, they can survive themselves? So such type of questions are available. So by conducting these type of programs, you are helping them, you are helping persons with disability, because attitude building making attitude building is also a responsibility of the institution. And in this digital era, we are using digital technology with our responsibilities. So that's a good opportunity to all of us to make awareness in between the population, help parents, help people with the disabilities to face challenges and live alone independently with a dignified life. As the topic is introduction of the learning disability and comorbid conditions. So question comes because learning disability means a disability which impacts learning. In simple term, we can think. And those have completed B.Ed in any stream. They have studied nature of needs, nature and needs of disabilities paper. Maybe they have completed B.Ed, maybe they have completed diploma, but they are have little awareness about the learning disability. But those have not done the special education and they have studied one paper of inclusive education in general B.Ed. Now those are working as a teacher but has not got any opportunity to aware themselves regarding the disability or special education. So they may understand more. So as learning disability is a term which have two words, one is learning, other is disability. In simple terms, if we say this is a disability in which child have problem in learning. So you all are aware what is learning: acquisition of knowledge and modification of behavior to adjust yourself in the society or environment. And disability is a challenge to fulfill your needs, to perform your activities freely. If you are having any disability or handicapping condition, a person those are having, they face challenges in fulfilling their daily requirement or the activities, completing activities which a other person can do easily. So in simple terms, if a child is having problem to perform learning activities, to learn the things easily, to learn or acquire the skills easily, means they may have problem. So but there is a difference between learning disability and learning difficulty and learning problems also. So just give me a minute to share my slides. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So as I discussed, what is learning? An active process of acquiring, retaining knowledge so it can be applied in the future situations. Disability, a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movement, sense or activities. So in layman term, we can think that learning disability is a disability or a condition which hinders, which impacts learning of a person. So what is learning? Learning disability is a neurodevelopmental disability as it is related to your brain or the child's brain. So neurodevelopmental means as we develop, we face this problem in development, brain development, or create some confusion, some challenges to process the information which we receive. It is a hidden handicapping condition because In this, child seems otherwise intelligent but gets poor marks. Physically, mentally, he is fit. He is looking fit. But when he appears for learning activity or examination or something, that time child gets poor marks. So if you are asking how much you are able to understand, are you able to understand, they express, they understand, they are able to understand. But when you ask to perform, to do the thing, that time they may have some confusion, they may have some problem to express the things which they learn correctly, and because of that they result poor performance in school. As we all are aware, when we appears in the examination in whole year or in whole semester, we prepares, we learn, we participate in academic discussions and all. But on the day of examination, all the learning which we have completed during the semester or during the whole year, we have to express that learning on the answer sheet. If due to any circumstances we fail to express our learning on that answer sheet, we will be fail. Similarly, we explain all the things to child. In general cases, it may be because of some other factors, maybe some psychological disturbance, maybe some family issues, maybe some medical issues. Candidate is not able to perform appropriately in the examination, because of that they get poor marks and declare as a fail. But these child gets all the things, all the experience, all the learning activities and all. After availing all facilities, all benefits and all, if they are not able to perform well, that time this situation comes, or they have some challenges in learning, they have some problem with learning. What are is the hidden problems of the learning, that question arises. So child may have severe discrepancy between academic achievement and intellectual abilities after providing appropriate learning experiences. So if child is getting appropriate learning experiences, after that, and the child is having average or above average intellectual or mental ability, after that if they are showing severe discrepancy between achievement and intellectual potential, that time we may suspect the child may have issues of learning disability. This is the person who coined the term learning disability in 1963, Samuel Alexander Crick. In 1963, in a meeting, in a conference, they coined this term learning disability and explained about the learning disability, how it is. So in this background, you can understand in 1963, in a speech to an education conference, Professor Samuel Alexander Crick coined and defined the term learning disability.
Sir,
Yes.
so your PPT is not moving.
Okay. So I should go back. I think
Now,
some
now it is visible. Yes, sir. Now.
yeah, I think some technical issues with the slideshow. Is it visible in this mode?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
visible, and you're audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So in the conference, they coined the term learning disability. I think you have not seen the photograph of Samuel Alexander Crick, who has coined the term learning disability. In his speech, had led to major impact on social policies and provided a framework and language for this new academic field. After that, in US, definition of learning disability developed, and they defined what type of characteristics, what type of conditions a child with learning disability have. They, in his speech, they said, I have used the term learning disabilities to describe a group of children who have disorder in development in language, speech, reading, and associated communication skills needed for social interaction. In this group, I do not include children who have sensory handicap such as blindness or deafness, because we have methods of managing and training the deaf and the blind. I also exclude from this group children who have generalized mental retardation. So they clearly mention those having learning challenges, learning issues because of the deafness, blindness, or the mental retardation, they are not involved in this group of learning disabilities. With the help of this conference, US government has recognized Samuel Alexander Crick's work and they developed definition. The first definition comes in 1968, which is adapted from the 1968 report of National Advisory Committee on Handicapped Children in US. And this is the federal definition, which have two parts. And the first part also known as idea definition. So what is this? This is specific learning disability means a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological processes involved in understanding or in using spoken or written that may manifest in an imperfect ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, spell, or do mathematical calculations, including conditions such as perceptual disabilities, brain injury, minimal brain dysfunction, dyslexia, and developmental aphasia. Before the term learning disability, these terms were in use: perceptual disabilities, brain injury, minimal brain dysfunction, dyslexia, developmental aphasia, etc. After the coining the term of learning disability, these are comes under this learning disability term. The term does not include children who have learning problems that are primarily the result of visual, hearing, or motor disabilities, or mental retardation, or of emotional disturbance, or of environmental, or cultural, or economic disadvantage. So, in learning disability, we cannot include these uh, problems or children those are having learning problem because of these things. So we have to rule out these conditions if we are going for assessment and identification of children with learning disabilities. Then the second part of the federal definition is considered operational, and it first appeared in the separate set of regulations for children with learning disabilities in 1977, US Office of Education. Regulation states that a student has a specific learning disability if the child does not achieve at proper age and ability level in one or more specific areas when provided with appropriate learning experiences. Means does not achieve proper age and ability levels one or more specific areas. What are these specific areas? These specific areas are oral expression. The student have severe discrepancy between achievement and intellectual ability in one or more these 7 areas. So these 7 areas are oral expression, listening comprehension, written expression, basic reading skills, reading comprehension, mathematical calculation, and mathematical reasoning. If child have severe discrepancy between achievement and intellectual ability or mental ability in these 7 areas, then we can suspect child as a suspected case for the learning disability. So this was the first definition which came in US regulation. After this, a new definition also came by the National Joint Committee on Learning Disabilities in 1990s, and this is almost similar to the federal definition, but in this they have made little change, that is, although learning disability may occur concomitantly with other handicapping conditions. In federal definition, they said that learning disability may not occur with the other handicapping conditions, but in this they mention that it may occur with the other handicapping conditions like sensory impairment, mental retardation, yes, emotional disturbance, or with extrinsic influence such as cultural differences, insufficient or inappropriate instruction, but they are not result of those conditions or influences. Means if a child having some sensory impairment, if we are providing some other accommodations, adaptations to them, just like a child have some vision issues, we are providing visual equipments, we are providing braille and all if child is blind. So after taking such accommodations, such modifications, the impact of this disability condition, sensory impairment, will be negliged, zero. So then after, if the child having problem in learning, then we can consider the child may have learning disability with the sensory impairment, but the impact of sensory impairment should be negliged, should be zero. So these are the main points of NJCLD definitions, because learning disability are a heterogeneous group of disorder, result in significant difficulty in acquisition and use of listening, speaking, reading, writing, reasoning, or mathematical skills. Problem is intrinsic to the individual. Problem is presumed to be related to the central nervous system dysfunction. And the main point is learning disability may occur along with the other disability or handicapping conditions. So after this second definition, third definition came ICLD. So Integracy Committee on Learning Disabilities also proposes one definition. The key addition of this definition by the committee was the inclusion of social skill deficit as a characteristic of learning disability. So in federal definition, NJCLT added that it may come with the other handicapping conditions, and ICLD definition has added the social skill deficit component as a characteristic. So non-verbal learning disability, you have listened this type of learning disability. So this is because of the ICLD definition. Main points of the ICLD definition is a child may have difficulty in listening, speaking, which is similar to all definition. Learning disability can occur concomitantly with other conditions. This definition specifically mentions socio-environmental influences and attention deficit disorder. So social deficit they have added in this. Common elements of all definitions: central nervous system dysfunction, uneven growth pattern and deficit in basic psychological process, and discrepancy between the potential and achievement. So by this, learning disability idea definition 2004 came, which is similar to the federal definition first part. This is the definition in Indian context. Learning disability as per the Rights of Person with Disabilities Act 2016. In US, learning disability was recognized from 1968, but in India, it takes a longer time, and in 2016, Government of India has given approval for learning disability, that this is also one type of disability which impacts child's learning, which impacts child's development in their individual living. So in this is very much similar to the idea definition. Specific learning disability means a heterogeneous group of condition wherein there is a deficit in processing language, spoken or written, that may manifest itself as a difficulty to comprehend, speak, read, write, spell, or to do mathematical calculation, and includes such conditions as perceptual disability, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and developmental aphasia. So types of learning disability they have included in this and given recognition to the learning disability in 2016 Act, Rights of Person with Disability Act. So by after this, those have completed B.Ed before this act, they were faced many challenges because if that time they were applying for the post, so because rights PWD Act 1995 was not having learning disability, so because of that they were not able to get jobs in the special education government sector. Private sector was accepting but from 2016 all are getting job in this. So that is the learning disability definition in Indian context. By this you can understand they have not mentioned the second part, which is very important, because if a child is not getting proper learning exposures, learning experiences, and because of that if they have challenges in learning, so that is because of the learning problems, not of the learning disability. If a child is having all type of learning exposures, all type of learning facilities, and they are having average or above average intellectual potential, mental capacity, after that they are not achieving the appropriate achievement level, then we can suspect. So this is the difference between learning disability and learning problems. In learning problems, they may not get the appropriate learning exposure, and because of the lack of learning exposure, they are suffering in learning. But in learning disability, child is getting all type of learning exposures, learning facilities, and they are having average or above average intellectual potential. After that, they are not getting good scores, achievement, and or results. So they may suspected case of learning disability. A detailed assessment is required for certification. And one more challenge is there, because when child comes to the school after preschool in class 3rd, when child is not able to do the activities or skills related to the class 1, then teacher can suspect that the child is having learning disability, and then they can refer the child for assessment and all. So before 8th year or 3rd grade, it is difficult to identify or certify child with learning disabilities, but as a teacher we may identify the alarming sign or precursors of learning disability, and we can start the intervention, we can start the remediation of such problems, and that may help child to cope up with the challenges of the disability. So phrases which are used for specific learning disability: special educational need, learning disabilities, learning problem, learning difficulty, slow learning, academically backward, scholastic backward, underachievement, etc. But all these, if they are getting proper learning exposure, in comes under one umbrella term, that is the learning disability. So prevalence of learning disability. The federal government in 2007 suggested that the approximately 2.78 million students aged from 6 to 21 were identified as having learning disability. The number of students identified with learning disability has increased over the year. No national level studies of the prevalence of learning disability has been conducted. Now we have one tool. Government of India has developed one tool, processed by that they are doing the assessment or trying to identify or screen children with learning disabilities in schools, and this is using Delhi government is using this tool in their schools. In India, it is estimated total 10% of population is suffering from learning disability, in which 4.2% are school going age. This is one study conducted by the Institute of Neurology, Kerala. About 10% of school going children suffers from SLD, but are not properly diagnosed. Their problem is generally confused with the learning problem. More number of boys are affected than girls. If we go for the causes, no known cause available. These are the causes similar to the other disabilities: neurological, genetic factor, prenatal causes, perinatal causal and anoxia, brain injury, postnatal causes, biochemical cause like low blood sugar, allergy, environmental factors, etc. But exact cause is not available. If how or what is the reason behind the learning disability. Now come to the characteristics of children with learning disability. So these are the areas of difficulty: listening, speaking, reading, writing, mathematics, social skill, comprehension, motor skills, thinking, memory, etc. are the areas of difficulty, and you can identify, you can observe the challenges or characteristics in these areas. So understanding the characteristics of children with learning disability is absolutely essential as a future educator in developing pre-referral interventions, making appropriate referrals, and identifying effective adaptation and intervention strategies. So first is reading skill: poor decoding skills, poor reading fluency, slow reading rate, lack of self-monitoring reading skills, poor comprehension or retention, difficulty in identifying important ideas in context, extreme difficulty building ideas and images, mental image, difficulty in integrating new ideas to existing knowledge, etc., are related to the reading skills. Weak vocabulary skills, extreme difficulty in understanding words or grammar, difficulty in recognizing high frequency words, oral comprehension in noticeable stronger than reading comprehension, extremely difficult focusing attention on the printed marks, printed words, letters, difficult controlling eye movement across the page, simmering pages not attributed to poor visions. Spelling skills, phonological awareness is noticeable stronger than spelling ability. What they listen, they try to write spelling in that manner, or the phonological ability they use to spell the spelling. Frequently spelling errors of the high frequency words, extremely difficulty with hormones and homonyms and regular spelling patterns, no understanding of the relationship of phonics to written language, no understanding of common spelling rules, inadequate understanding of phonics even with instruction. Written expression: poor writing fluency, unable to compose complete grammatical sentence, difficulty in organizing written information, poor handwriting, extremely poor alignment, inability to take note or copy information from a book or the board. Oral expression is noticeably stronger than the written expression. If you are asking to write, that time child may say, please आप सुन लीजिए मैं लिखूंगा नहीं. So they try to avoid the writing activities. Extremely weaker proofreading skills. In oral language, inability to hear small differences between sound, not attributable to a hearing loss, particularly vowel sound. Difficulty in articulating thoughts or ideas orally, difficulty in pronouncing word, inability to blend sound together to form word, difficulty in listening or responding to a series of directions, disorganized recall or facts or details, has trouble following oral directions, difficulty in responding to or formulating questions, may have difficulty in expressing self in conversation, may have word finding problem if they are trying to speak that time, may be slow in responding verbally, does not gain information from lectures and all. Mathematical skills: poor mathematic fluency, difficulty in memorizing multiplication tables, difficulty in identifying multiply or factors, poor basic calculation skills, difficulty in understanding word or application problems, poor understanding of mathematical concepts, difficulty in sorting or irrelevant informations, lower visual perceptual visual spatial ability, inability to transfer basic mathematical concept to solve problem with unpredicted information or daily life in, situations, inability to use basic fact within more complex calculation, memory skills, they may forget shapes of the letter, numbers, math facts, symbols, have difficulty in remember verbal material, extremely weak ability to store and retrieve information efficiently, extremely weak ability to hold information for immediate use, reasoning skills, they have weak ability to solve problem, particularly when information or procedure is unfamiliar, extreme difficulty in recognizing, transforming, using specific information to reach general conclusion. Metacognitive deficits they may have, because metacognitive ability is ability to do how to do and learn how to learn. So that type of planning they may have problem. Perceptual disorders they may have visual perceptual disorder, may have auditory perceptual disorder, tactile kinesthetic perception disorders, etc. Motor skills problem, they may have problem in executing gross motor skills, running, jumping, skipping, fine motor skills, writing, drawing, pasting, body image and awareness, solving puzzle, reading facial expressions, pointing body parts, etc. They may have problem with the visual motor integration like tracing, cutting, clipping, throwing, catching, paper pencil activities, etc. Social emotional problem, frustrated by their learning difficulties, very easily get frustrated, have negative feeling of self-worth, poor self-concept, self-esteem, experience problem in interacting with parents, teacher, peer or strangers. Attention problems and hyperactivity, you may find out such type of things in these children. Other characteristics like poor organization and time management, difficulty in following directions, poor organization of notes and other written material, need more time to complete assignment, inadequate time concept, difficulty in judging relationship, social imperception and inability to follow class discussion, etc. You may find out. General behavior may be a concrete learner, does not learn incidentally, perform poorly on test although appears to understand the information, has performance fluctuations, is not organized, not having organized thoughts, material, body, clothing, may be unable to generalize and integrate the skill learned, have difficulty in skimming the main ideas or high listening to the main ideas, have poor social skills. Point to be remembered, not all students with learning disabilities will exhibit these characteristics, which we have discussed. It is not compulsory all students with learning disability have such type of characteristics. As per the area of difficulty, they may have different type of characteristics. Many people who demonstrate these same behavior are quite successful in the classroom. It is the quantity, intensity, and the duration of the behaviors that lead to problem in school elsewhere. In almost all cases, a single student will not have deficit in all the areas. They may have different deficit areas. So some famous learning disabled person, Thomas Alva Edison, Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, these are some names which are famous and which had some learning disability issues. So now the second part, that is the comorbidity to the learning disability, the conditions which are associated with the learning disability. So the conditions occurring most frequently with learning disabilities are ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, affective disorder like depression and anxiety, and disorders related to inappropriate behavior or conduct. So these are the three basic comorbid conditions. ADHD is the very common condition. So attention deficit hyperactive disorder, this neurological disorder affects almost 1 in 10 children and can affect 1 in 5 children with dyslexia. It mainly affects attention and organization, and may be accompanied by hyperactivity and impulsivity. A person who has already has major problem in learning, the problem gets all the more aggregated due to ADHD. If ADHD is associated with the LD problem, it becomes serious and severe. Affective disorder, anxiety, depression. Children with dyslexia may have low due to their struggle in academic and are prone to depressive and anxiety disorders. They are usually identified by changes in child's usual pattern of behavior, deterioration in academic performance accompanied by withdrawal from activity, greater irritability, mood swing, avoidance of school, change in alteration, eating, sleeping, and playing activities. So by these you can identify if child having some learning disability issues, and such type of things also you are observing, means these are associated conditions with that. Disorder related to inappropriate behavior, conduct disorder. Some children with LD may demonstrate negative behavior, defiance of authority and aggressive behaviors in class, and engage in avoiding classwork. Disorder like conduct disorder and operational defiant disorder further interference with the learning and peer relation in the classroom setting. So these are the three basic comorbid conditions which are associated with the learning disability. So detail, attention deficit disorder, what is this? Because these three conditions we have to go through that. ADHD, so it is the condition of the brain that affects person's ability to pay attention, is most common to school age. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder is a group of chronic disorder that begins in childhood and sometimes lasts into the adult life. Symptoms are pervasive, that occurs in multiple settings rather than one. Means a child with ADHD will show hyperactivity or inattentive behavior irrespective of sitting. Children and adults with ADHD often struggle with low self-esteem, trouble personal relationship, and poor performance in school and at work. Subtype, there are three subtypes: ADHD predominantly hyperactive impulsivity type, ADHD predominantly inattentive type, and ADHD combined type. These are the as per the DSM-4. What type of characteristics we can see? Restlessness and inability to remain seated when quiet behavior is expected, excessive talking, blurting out answers without being called upon to do so, constantly interrupting other, and inability to take turn. Inattentive type of disorder, because first one is the hyperactive and impulsive type of disorder. Second, inattentive. So in this, they may have characteristics: inability to pay attention to detail or tendency to make careless errors in the schoolwork or other activities. Difficulty with sustained attention in task or play activities, apparent listening problem, difficulty following instruction, avoidance or dislike of tasks that requires mental effort, tendency to lose things like toys, notebooks, homework, distractibility, forgetfulness in daily activities. Has difficulty in concentrating, has unrelated thought, performance dependent on task, may have better attention to enjoyed activity, has difficulty in planning, organizing, and completing tasks on time, has problem learning new things, and may demonstrate poor self-regulation of behavior. That is, he or she has difficulty in monitoring and modify behavior to fit different situations and settings. If we go for the prevalence of ADHD in school-going children is 3 to 7%. The estimate of the prevalence of ADHD among children with LD range from 10% to 92%. Thus, it is rather evident that the prevalence of ADHD in children with LD is relatively high. Affective disorder. I need 2-3 minutes more only, and we'll finish it. So, depression. This is the one. Affective disorder, depression can affect anyone, including children. People with learning disability are just as likely to get depressed as other people. It is one of the few conditions whose symptoms, such as feeling sad, has been experienced by most of us at some times in our life. Yet, to clinical syndrome of depression represents a disorder that can have a negative impact on almost all aspects of human life. Feeling low or sad is not only the sign, there are few more signs. So these signs are sudden and gradual change in usual behavior, seeking reassurance, loss of stalls, loss of bowel and bladder control, loss of ability to communicate, outburst of anger, destructiveness and self-harm, physical illness, complaining about ache and pains, less interest in the activities which are usually enjoyed, feeling tired all time, eating too little or too much, losing weight, inability to sleep or waking up too early, sleeping all the time, avoiding other people, inability to relax or restlessness, being snappy and imitable, feeling bad or guilty, worthless, lose of confidence, loss of confidence, think life is not worth living, etc. These are some symptoms which you can see if child have some depression disorder along with the learning disability. What are the reasons behind this? So why children with learning disability are believed to be a greater risk for depression than children without? Because LD often experience low self-esteem, which is a symptom of depression. Children who were depressed tend to score lower academic achievement, which is a defining characteristics of LD. Both children with LD and those depressed have some type of neurological disturbance. Anxiety disorder, this is also one disorder related to the affective disorder. So anxiety is universal human experience, but anxiety disorder is a type of mental illness. Most people experience feeling stressed or worried in certain difficult situations. But when this feeling lasts for a long period of a time, is a very severe, it is called anxiety disorder. If they are unable to overcome from the situation, so that time this type of an disorder can come. DSM-5 defines anxiety as the apprehensive anticipation of future danger or misfortune accompanied by a feeling of dysphoria or some somatic symptoms of tension. The focus of anticipated danger may external or internal. What happens in anxiety disorder? Along with feeling stressed or worried all time, people can also experience the following: dry mouth, feeling shaky, sweating a lot, heart beating very fast, feeling tense in a body, breathing very fast, feeling dizzy, difficulty in sleeping at night. What are the reason? The pupil suffers from anxiety when there are certain changes in chemical levels in brain. These chemical changes are triggered as a result of certain serious life events or after use of drugs such as amphetamine or consumption of the large quantities of coffee. However, sometimes it may be difficult to know the reason. So because children with learning disability have achievement issues, they get less poor achievement level. So because of that, they may develop some anxiety. Clinical features of anxiety, there are three domains or components of the anxiety: psychological, cognitive element, physiological and behavioral. So physiological and cognitive elements represent the fearful anticipation, irritability, concentration and memory problems, repetitive worrying thoughts, fear, and in extreme instance, fully fledged panic. Physiological manifestation include dry mouth, difficulty in swallowing, flushing, sweating, pallor, palpitation, tremor, hyperventilation, chest pain, tightness, headache, backache, fatigue, muscle tension, diarrhea, increased urinary frequency, heightened startle response, and isomania. So different type of things you can find out. Avoidance is a common behavioral manifestation of the anxiety. School नहीं जाना है, काम नहीं करना है, that type of things maybe. Disorder related to inappropriate behavior conduct. So oppositional defiant disorder and the conduct disorder. Defiant disorder mainly applies to children whose functioning at home, at school is impaired by constant conflicts with adults and other children. ODD is a psychiatric disorder that is characterized by two different set of problems. These are aggressiveness and a tendency to purposefully bother and irritate others. So it may happen with the child if teacher is pointing again and again, or parents are pointing again and again regarding their achievement level or performance in the academics and all. So we have to careful with that. Such type of things should not be developed. According to the American Psychiatric Association, ODD is characterized by a chronic pattern of negativity, hostility, and non-compliant child behavior that is most often directed towards authority figures and has existed for at least 6 months. If it is for 6 months, then it can be a serious concern. This behavior is severe enough that is interferes with the everyday functioning at home, in some cases at schools and other activities also. Common behaviors: act angrily, restless, restful and towards other, frequent temper tantrums, frequently has an angry attitude, always questioning rules, refusal and to follow rules, deliberately try to annoy or upset other people, is often touchy, easily annoyed by others, speaking rudely or crudely, excessive argument with adults, actively defy or refuse to comply with adults' requests or rules, act spiteful or seeks revenge on others, blame others for his or her mistake or misbehavior. Prevalence is 2 to 16% as per the DSM-4, and the nature of behavioral manifestation changes in student, and it is seen that the school age children with pattern of ODD behavior tends to express their defiance with teachers and other adults and exhibit aggression towards their peers. They may more likely to misinterpret their peers' behavior as hostile, and they lack the skills of solve social conflict. The problem situation: children with ODD are likely to resort to aggressive physical actions rather than verbal response. And this one, the last one of the behavioral disorder, conduct disorder. So conduct disorder is the one of the most difficult mental health problem in the children and adolescent. CD involves a number of problematic behavior, including oppositional and defiant behavior and antisocial activities like lying, stealing, running away, physical violence, sexuality, coercive behavior, etc. The disorder is marked by chronic conflict with parents, teachers, and peers, and can result in damage to property, physical injury to the patient and others. These patterns of behavior are consistent over time, and formal classification with DSM-4 defines essential characteristics as a persistent pattern of behavior in which basic rights of others and major age appropriate social norms are violated. They have given 4 type of CD: aggression towards the people and animal, destruction of property without aggression towards people or animal, deceitfulness, lying, theft, and serious violation of the rules. The prevalence: conduct disorder usually appears in early and middle school, like ODD. The prevalence rate of the conduct disorder are estimated 2 to 9% in the population. Though conduct disorder are found in children with LD, the prevalence of the same has yet to be ascertained. Cognitive and academic deficits are the most widely reported educational correlates of the academic of the conduct disorder. What are the characteristics? At the primary school level with the conduct disorder, the continued aggressiveness tendency with other adults and peers, lack of social skill to interact with peers. They tend to be aggressive, do not pay attention to social cues, often misinterpret other children as being hostile, and lack of ability to solve difficult social situation. In adolescence, these children tend to have episodes of intense anger and resort of aggressive actions rather than verbally mediated response. They almost always blame peers for their own action and seldom take responsibility for their own actions. By the time they enter middle school, they show non compliance with the commands, emotional overreaction, and failure to take responsibility for one's own actions. So, this was all about the conduct disorder. References, these are few references related to the introduction to the learning disability. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, anyone have queries? So they can come up with their queries one by one. Please raise your hand before asking any questions. Thank you. Any questions?
I tried to complete all the content within time limit, but it need more time to explain all the things. If you have any query, you can ask. Because many times we have seen associated conditions with LD in classrooms. So as a teacher, as a special educator, we must aware about these things, and we have to cater the needs of the children with learning disabilities, and we must counsel them that they can do with the help of some accommodation, adaptation, etc. And we must counsel parents also. So such type of situation associated conditions should not come.
If there is no. Okay. Miss Archana. Yes, ma'am, please. Yes, Archana, ma'am. You can put up your query.
स्टॉप करेंगे सबको बोलो स्टॉप करें आप सर स्टॉप करेंगे ना प्रेजेंटेशन
Please, ma'am, unmute yourself.
सर ये तो कोमल मैम की प्रेजेंटेशन है।
कौन है उनकी है नहीं कर रहे हैं
If you can't say, ma'am, you can write your question in the chat box. Sir can revert back to you. Okay, so if there is no more questions, then I would like to end this session, and I would like to thank Sir, and would take a moment to extend our sincerest gratitude and offer a heartfelt thank you to Sir, who has dedicated his time, expertise to shed light on the critical topic of specific learning disability. Sir, your insights, knowledge, and passion for addressing learning disability have made a profound impact on all of us here today. Thank you so much, sir, making this webinar more valuable with your esteemed presence. Thank you so much, sir. And now
Thank you,
over to
everybody. Thank you, Abhilasha ma'am. Thank you, Komal and Devika, for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That was such a self explanatory lecture. I must appreciate. And these kind of, these kind of discussions, these kind of lectures really enhances our understanding for this field a lot. And I must say that this is very easy to listen. Okay, if this thing is not happening, then this kind of problem the child is facing. But when we work on the ground, it is very difficult to understand, and they're very difficult to intervene in such disabilities. So the way you have explained all the things in such a easy language and understanding language, it is very insightful, sir. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for always being there for AIE. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Now, moving to session 3, the topic is legal provisions for identification and assessment and intervention for specific learning disability dyslexia. I would like to heartily welcome Dr. Anisha Sinha, ma'am. Ma'am is rehabilitation psychologist and a special educator in locomotor impairment and cerebral palsy. Ma'am has completed her graduation degree from Kurukshetra University, PG from Guru Jambeshwar University Hisar, and PhD from Delhi University. At present, Ma'am is working at Army College of Medical Sciences as a psychologist and student counselor. Ma'am is also a fellow life member of Indian Science Congress. A very warm welcome, ma'am. We are thrilled to have you here today among us. Ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ma'am, are you presenting the slides or should I come up with it? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Will you be presenting the slides or should I start with it?
Ma'am, you can start.
Good afternoon. As you all are knowing that we are commemorating the Dyslexia Month in this October. So my topic will be related to to addressing the challenges of specific disabilities with a comprehensive approach to identification, assessment, and intervention. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So why is it important addressing SLD in India? SLD is specific learning disorder disability. Why is it important addressing this thing in India? So addressing SLD ensures that every student has an equal opportunity to succeed academically and reach their full point. Secondly, it will help us in including inclusive education. We can promote a more inclusive education system that values the diverse needs of all students and fulfilling rights, and so that every child in India has the right to receive an education that meets their individual needs regardless of learning differences. But unfortunately, research in learning disabilities in India is in its nascent stage. This presentation presents an overview of current identification procedures in India and suggests alternatives for the way forward. Identification of learning disability in India is challenging given the diversity in languages spoken and the socio-economic disparity. India is the second most populous country in the world with a population of 1.4 billion people as per the World Bank 2021. There are 22 official languages. Thus, has a vast linguistic diversity. Estimated prevalence rates of LD in India range widely between 2 to 19%. Few assessment tools have been developed and normed on the Indian population or are available in Indian languages. India is a signatory to the 2006 United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and has committed the inclusive education for all students. India's national policies such as the 2016 Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act are making provisions for inclusive education for all children. At the same time, in India's recent National Education Policy 2020 allows for students with disabilities to be educated in inclusive schools as well as in special schools and home settings, depending upon the needs of the students. So, unfortunately, many students with disabilities still have limited access to education. So, that's why there is very much importance for addressing SLD in India. Next is specific learning disability. Now, this is the topic we'll be dealing today. Specific learning disabilities, these are heterogeneous group of disorders where the individual unexpectedly fails to competently acquire, retrieve, and use information. The RPWD Act defines specific learning disability as a heterogeneous group of conditions wherein there is a deficit in processing languages, spoken or written, that may manifest itself as a difficulty to comprehend, speak, read, spell, or to do mathematical calculations, and include such conditions as perceptual disabilities, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and developmental aphasia. So this is given by Ministry of Law and Justice in 2016. Specific learning disabilities, they are basically the group of neurodevelopmental difficult disorders characterized by severe persistent difficulties in learning to efficiently read, that is dyslexia, write, that is dysgraphia, or perform mathematical calculations, that is dyscalculia, despite normal intelligence, conventional schooling, intact hearing and vision, adequate motivation, and socio-cultural opportunity. Students with SLD present with one or more of academic problems like reading slowly and incorrectly, skipping lines while reading aloud, making repeated spelling mistakes, untidy or illegible handwriting with poor sequencing, and inability to perform even simple mathematics, inability to perform even simple mathematics. So these afflicted students, they have poor school performance and they develop anxiety and social maladaptation. If SLD remains undiagnosed, they invariably fail to achieve school grades at a level that is matching with their intellectual abilities. In our country, up to 5 to 15% school going children, that is almost 35 million, who otherwise have no visible physical, intellectual, visual, or auditory impairment, have this invisible disability. Dyslexia alone affects 80% of all school students identified as having SLD. So, out of 2 to 19% of SLEs, 80% solely is solely the students are having dyslexia. Additionally, out of 35 lakh children who are not in the format school system, quite a few may be having a SLD, though no data is available. Ideally, SLD should be diagnosed while the afflicted student is in primary school so that there is adequate time to avail adequate remedial education for a few years to achieve academic competence. So, it's very important that SLD should be diagnosed at an early stage, better by 8 years of age, so that the child should get the opportunity to avail all the interventions and accommodations provided to them. SLD is said to be one of the least understood and most debated disabling conditions that affect children. However, it is agreed in general that SLD is a language based disorder that manifests with significant difficulties in reading, writing, spelling, or mathematics in the absence of any cognitive or sensory motor deficits. Lack of adequate educational opportunities and instructions, even if there are other contextual or clinical conditions, they cannot sufficiently explain the academic underachievement. Though the problems are expected to manifest in the early school years, it is also not uncommon to notice SLD only when the student reaches higher grades where his or her abilities are found to be far below the learning demands. So one thing, what are the criteria of diagnosing learning disability? A person having low IQ is uh, considered to be having specific learning disability. Yes or no? Can you hear?
No.
No. So what should be the benchmark for IQ?
It should be the normal range, 90 to 110.
70.
Yes. 70 above
Normal.
normal range, right?
Average age.
And any other environmental conditions are responsible?
No.
No. So a person, a student who is coming for the, who is in the first generation of study, and he is far behind the studies. So we will not be taking him into the category of SLD because there is nobody to take care of him regarding his studies. So in that case, we will be providing him with the studies first and then go for the assessment again. That is reaction to um, intervention. There are many cases like,
Lavana,
pardon, anyone who want to ask something? Okay, fine. So what is the prevalence and challenges of SLD in India? High prevalence is there. Statistics show that SLD affects a significant percentage of students in India, impacting their academic performance and overall well-being. Then there are barriers to identification. Prevalence rate of SLD is 2 to 19%. The barriers to identification is that there is lack of awareness, limited resources, and cultural stigmas surrounding SLD that pose challenges in identifying and supporting affected students. Then, since they are not identified properly, they remain untreated. Untreated SLD can lead to decreased self-confidence, academic struggles, and limited opportunities in higher education and future careers. So currently there are significant challenges to overcome in order to ensure effective implementation as per RPWD. Validated screening tools to identify SLD student needs to be referred for so as to identify a student who needs to be referred for assessment, and validated assessment tools for diagnosing SLD are not available in all regional languages. That is the foremost problem that we as special educators or as teachers, as psychologists are facing in India. There is a dearth of assessment clinics, special educators to diagnose SLD and impart remedial education to afflicted students. Also, large majority of schools they don't have resource rooms to impart remedial education. The RTE Act 2009 has mandated that no student shall be held back until completion of class 8. So by till class 8, the RT 2009 Act said that every student has to be promoted. In this case, also, one of the consequences of this is that students with suspected SLD are getting referred for assessment at a very late stage, that is 14 years of age, by the time they are in standard 9th. So, this is the biggest hurdle that by class 8, they are exempted from getting diagnosed. At this stage, only an Unfortunately, the tests which are available in India, four basic tests which are available in India, that is NIMHANS battery, SLD CDM battery of AIMS, and then Shola, no, DALI, and so these three, they are dealing with children only of the primary grades till class 7, and only one test tool, that is Sholapur Wala RF tool, or the Woodcock Johnson test of achievement in English, to diagnose SLD after class 8. It is important to note that Woodcock Johnson test of achievement is not applicable or validated for use in India on Indian population. Next is learning disabilities as talked about in 80s. So National Joint Committee on Learning Disabilities were formed in 80s, which said that learning disabilities, it is a heterogeneous group of disorders manifested by significant difficulties in the acquisition and use of listening, speaking, reading, writing, reasoning, or mathematical abilities. So it was there, but uh, uh, and these disorders, they are intrinsic to the individual and presumed to be due to central nervous system. And by 2020, the concept says that strong converging evidence supports the validity of the concept of specific learning disabilities. So, this evidence is particularly impressive because it converges across different indicators and methodologies. The central concept of SLD involves disorders of learning and cognition that are intrinsic to the individual. SLD are specific in the sense that these disorders each significantly affect a relatively narrow range of academic and performance outcomes. SLD may occur in combination with other disabling conditions, but they are not due primarily to other conditions such as intellectual disability, behavioral disturbance, lack of opportunities to learn, or primary sensory deficits. So these are four things which are excluded from establishing that the person or individual is having SLD. Types of learning disabilities. So there are different types of learning disabilities. Dyslexia, which is language and reading disability. Dyscalculia, which is problems with arithmetic and math concepts. Dysgraphia, a writing disorder resulting in illegibility. Dyspraxia, problems with motor coordination or sensory integration disorder. This is also known as sensory integration disorder. So there is problem in motor coordination, like eye and hand coordination is not there. What one is perceiving is not able to write it down. Central auditory processing disorder, difficulty is difficulty processing and remembering language related tasks. Non-verbal learning disorders, trouble with non-verbal cues like body language, poor coordination, clumsy. Then next is visual perceptual or visual motor deficit. It is reverse here this individual reverses the letters or cannot copy accurately. Last is language disorders, aphasia or dysphasia, where there is trouble in understanding spoken language and poor reading comprehensions. So we will be talking about dyslexia. So a comprehensive approach to identification and assessment.
मेरा भी presentation हो गया है, बोल.
So early identification programs and screenings are done to identify SLD in students at a younger age for timely intervention. This would lead to multidisciplinary assessment. It's a collaborative assessment process involving educators, psychologists, and specialists to understand the specific learning needs of the students. And third, there are involvement of teachers and parents, creating partnerships between teachers and parents and professionals should share information and support students with SLD effectively. So identification involves all these people so as to go for the assessment properly. Characteristics of learning difficulties. Usually, learning difficulties, uh, individuals show slow reading rate, problems with reasoning and abstract concepts, problem with what is read, difficulty in recalling arithmetic operations, difficulty finding important points or main ideas, problems remembering math facts, poor note taking and outlining skill, confusion of similar words, letter reversals, difficulties beginning and sticking with study, frequent spelling errors, poor organization and management of time, confusion or reversal of numbers or math symbols, difficulty remembering what is read, overly large handwriting, poor memory for recalling material, slow learning rate, difficulty following directions, difficulty with sentence structure or poor grammar, inability to complete assignments in time allowed. So, what are the causes of SLD? No real causes have yet been found. It is still confounding. It is said that it might be caused by heredity, teratogenic reason, medical reasons, or environment. So, uh, teratogenic means that there is medical genetics is involved into it. Again, it is like it's something hereditary. It is basically abnormalities of physiological development in organisms during lifespan. So it is related to medical genetics. And in medical science, due to medical conditions, like there is more less circulation of blood in one part of the brain. uh, Examples like this, that there is a neurological problem, that's why it is called neurological problem is there. And environmental reasons, if there is first generation is studying, and after given RTI is still, after given intervention, the child is not coping up. So those environmental conditions can be responsible for causing uh, SLD. Types of assessment. There are two types of assessment: informal assessments and formal psychoeducational assessment. Informal assessments. So, testing for learning abilities usually involves three primary types of assessment: testing of intellectual or cognitive potential, testing of information processing or sensory motor abilities that are indicative of a learning disability, and assessment of current educational achievements. Informal assessment includes classroom assessments, systematic observation, and file review and interviews. So these are as important as administering formal instruments to determine levels of the academic skill. So uh, without informal assessment, we cannot go for formal psychoeducational assessments, because it is the informant first who tells or who finds out that the child is having this type of problem. After that, he is referred for the formal assessment or test for developing and identifying strengths and weaknesses in learning processes. Because it is so important to intervene as early as possible, teachers should not wait for formal assessment to occur before they put strategies in place. If the teacher finds out that yes, after observation that yes, the child is having problem or showing problem in this area, he or she should not wait for formal assessment to be done on the child, but can go with the strategies and accommodations uh, uh, to fulfill the needs of the suffering child. Assessment to identify a learning disability should integrate information from a number of sources, including family, teachers, counselors, learning assistants, or other records, and any relevant medical report. Once the student has been referred for a formal assessment, a teacher or principal will need to obtain parent permission and assist the student and their parents in understanding what will occur during the formal assessment uh, process. Now, what is the formal assessment? It is done by psychologists. It involves the usage of different instruments. In India, I told you earlier, we use NIMHANS battery, then SLD, CDM battery, CDB battery from AIMS, DALI, and one more that was from Maharashtra. We went that is I'm forgetting. I'll tell you. So it is done by psychologists. It involves the usage of different instruments. Psychoeducational assessments reveal difficulties in the area of perceptual and information processing, language and auditory processing, attention and other areas of executive function, motor abilities or social skills, as well as reading, writing, language, or mathematics. There are different tests for dyslexia which are available worldwide over, but we are not using this in India. Its substitutes are given into which are best suitable in the on the Indian population. They are given in these tools, these four tools. So the different tests which are available are expressive one-word picture vocabulary test, receptive one-word picture vocabulary test, clinical evaluation of language fundamentals, Woodcock reading mastery test, Gray oral reading test, comprehensive test of phonological processing. This is for dyslexia. For dysgraphia, there is Berry test of visual motor integration, Ray complex figure drawing, and test of written language 3. For dyscalculia, there are subtests of Woodcock Johnson psychoeducational battery, wide range achievement test, test of mathematical abilities. So, what is being done in assessment of reading? Identification of alphabets and knowing the sounds of letters in the early years, words in isolation, that is analysis of the kind of difficulties present while reading a word, including decoding strategies. These could include substitution, omission, uh, addition of consonants or vowels. Then reading for meaning from a sentence or passage. Fluency in reading, that is the child reading the text in a word by word, phrase by phrase manner with pauses that do not contribute to the meaning of the text. Does the child ignore punctuation while reading? Understanding written directions. And middle school and high school students should be assessed for reading, languages. Next is what is being assessed in writing. Proper pencil grip should be there, ability to retrieve alphabets representing sounds, the formation and legibility of letters and numbers, a mixture of print and cursive, the appearance of uppercase in the middle of the word should also be noted. Spelling as part of comprehension or essay writing, punctuation, use of vocabulary and synonyms in place of on piece of free writing, ability to present ideas in an understandable sequence, ability to plan and organize a written text for a particular audience or purpose, organization of writing and the mechanics of writing a paragraph or essay, and speed of writing. And what is assessed in mathematical skills? The ability to recall basic math skills, procedures, rules, or formulae, ability to maintain precision during mathematical work, ability to sequence and carry out successfully multiple steps, understanding the final goal of the math problem, ability to identify salient aspects of a mathematical situation, particularly in word problems or other problem solving situations where some information is not relevant, ability to remember and understand the vocabulary and language of math, ability to know when irrelevant information is included or when information is given out of sequence, ability to explain and communicate about math, including asking and answering questions, ability to read text to direct own learning, and ability to remember assigned values or definition in specific problems. Now, there are certain facts of learning abilities. Persons with learning disabilities uh, are not lazy and dumb. In fact, they usually have average above average intelligence. Often they fall within the range or gifted. Their brains just produce information differently. Attention disorders such as ADHD, learning disabilities often occur at the same time, but they are not the same. Children with dyslexia use almost 5 times as much brain as other children while doing a simple language task. And learning disabilities are not the same as autism, hearing or visual impairment, physical disabilities, or emotional disorders. Next is intervention. Intervention includes empowering parents, we already talked about it, to make a collaborative group of parents, teachers, and professionals. So, empowering parents, building strong partnerships for student success. So, effective collaboration between parents and educators is vital in supporting students with specific learning disabilities. Uh, to the strategies to explore strategies for fostering meaningful partnerships, providing resources and support, and empowering parents to advocate for the child's educational needs. Next is promoting inclusive education for supporting students with disabilities. Inclusive education is essential for students with disabilities in India to explore the importance of creating inclusive learning environments, and effective teaching strategies and collaborative approaches to ensure the success of all students. Supporting students with SLD using effective teaching strategies. So, implementing effective teaching strategies is crucial for supporting students with specific learning disabilities to explore evidence based approaches, accommodations, and instruction techniques to create an inclusive learning environment that fosters student success, empowering students, building resilience and self efficacy in them. Empowering students with specific learning disabilities involve involves nurturing their resilience and self efficacy, to explore strategies to foster a positive mindset, develop self advocacy skills, and promote a sense of belonging in the academic environment. Effective learning strategies for students with SLD. Students with specific learning disabilities require specialized instruction and support to reach their full potential. This explores effective teaching strategies and interventions that educators can use to help students with SLD to succeed in the classroom and beyond. Creating inclusive learning environments for students with SLDs, we have already talked about it, so that so as to explore the importance of accessibility, accommodations, and fostering a sense of belonging to ensure optimal learning experiences for all students. Effective interventions and support strategies. So, what are the under this heading? We include differentiated instructions, assistive technology and resources, individualized educational plans. So, our differentiated instruction means implementing instructional strategies that cater to individual learning styles and provide personalized support for students with SLD. Assistive technology and resources include utilizing technology tools, specialized resources, and accommodation to enhance accessibility and engagement for students with SLD. Developing personalized plans that outline specific goals, accommodations, and support services to meet the unique needs of students is individualized education plan. Then collaborating for student success. Collaboration is key to providing effective support for students with specific learning disabilities. This is to explore the importance of building collaborative relationships between educators, parents, and other professionals to ensure that students receive comprehensive and coordinated support. Collaboration and support system, we have done it earlier also. There is role of inclusive education policies, teacher training and professional development should be there, support from educational psychologists and specialists should be there. So policies that promote inclusive education provide a supportive framework for integrating students with SLC into mainstream classrooms. Then equipping educators with the knowledge and skills needed to effectively support students with SLD through specialized training programs, and collaborating with experts who offer guidance, assessments, and interventions to ensure the holistic development of students with SLD. So, what type of technology and individuals are used with individuals with learning disabilities? The use of technology has been a great benefit to people with disabilities, including those with learning disabilities. Students with learning disabilities are increasingly making use of technology to assist them in achieving academic success, including word processing, internet, video discs, CD-ROMs, and hypermedia. Then computers can be used for this, for writing assignments. Students with LD should be allowed to use a computer so that they can get spelling support through the spell check program. Next, students with dyslexia may find that writing assignments are more easily completed on a computer. Consider trying computer software like Kurzweil 3000, which reads textbooks and other materials to students. Other assistive technology, teachers may allow students to use calculators during maths when the goal is concept attainment and not automaticity of the maths fact. Okay? Then the teacher may allow students to tape record lectures or tape notes for students. Allow students who cannot speak clearly to use a speech synthesizer. Then assessments allow for alternate forms of assessment by allowing students to demonstrate learning through such things as portfolios, slide presentations, photographic essays, or taped interviews. So, one thing about dyslexia, I want to tell you that people with dyslexia usually have trouble making the connection between letters and sound and with the spelling and recognizing words. So, people with dyslexia often experience other symptoms. These may include failure to fully understand what others are saying, difficulty organizing written and spoken language, delayed ability to speak, poor self expression, for example, saying things or stuff or words not recalled, difficulty learning new vocabulary either through reading or hearing, trouble learning foreign languages, slowness in learning songs and rhymes, slow reading as well as giving up on longer reading tasks, difficulty understanding questions and following directions, poor spelling, difficulty recalling numbers in sequence, for example, telephone numbers and addresses, and trouble distinguishing left from right. So, if you ask a dyslexic which is right and which is left, they may not be able to tell you about it. So we earlier did that they are during intervention they are to be empowered with resilience and self efficacy. They are also to be empowered with self advocacy and self determination. So empowering students with specific learning disabilities is essential for their long term success. It explores the importance of self advocacy and self determination skills and provides effective strategies for building these skills in students with SLD. So, success stories and case studies. So, they are to be taught with success stories of and case studies so that intervention can work efficiently. So, interventions that work discover inspiring success stories that showcase the positive impact of tailor made interventions for students with SLD. Then, testimonials of empowerment. Students, parents, and educators share their first hand experiences of how effective support strategies transform their lives and education. Building inclusive community, engaging stakeholders for SLD support. Creating inclusive communities is crucial for supporting students with specific learning disabilities, and it explores the importance of engaging stakeholders such as community organizations, policymakers, and advocacy groups in promoting awareness and providing necessary support for students with SLD. Supporting students with SLD by using assistive technology integration. We did it right now. Integrating assistive technology can greatly benefit students with specific learning disabilities. It explores the importance of providing access to assistive tools and strategies for effectively incorporating them into learning environment. And empowering students in building social emotional skills. This is very important. Developing social emotional skills is crucial for students with specific learning disabilities. It explores strategies to foster self-awareness, emotional regulation, and positive social interactions so, to support their overall well-being and academic success. Creating inclusive learning environments using universal design for learning. Universal Design for Learning is an effective framework for creating inclusive learning environments for students with specific learning disabilities. It explores the principles and strategies of UDL to support diverse learners and promote equitable access to education. So, what is UDL? You might have UDL is Universal Design for Learning, which is a framework developed to switch the focus from fixing students so they can be successful in the curriculum to fixing the curriculum so that it is accessible to more students at the outset. So here the curriculum is changed as per the need of the student. So IQ achievement discrepancy is one point I wanted to discuss. Learning disabilities are often identified by psychiatrists, school psychologists, clinical psychologists, counseling psychologists, and neuropsychologists through a combination of intelligence testing, academic achievement tests, academic achievement testings, classroom performances, and social interaction and aptitude. Other areas of assessment may include perception and cognition, aptitude. Other areas of assessment may include perception, cognition, memory, attention, and language abilities. The resulting performance is commensurate with his or her cognitive ability. If a child's cognitive ability is much higher than his or her academic performance, the student is often diagnosed with learning ability. The DSM-4 and many school systems and government programs diagnose learning disabilities in this way. So we come to the conclusion, comprehensive approach matters and there is a call to action. The comprehensive approach to addressing SLD in India is essential to ensure equitable access to education and empower students with diverse learning needs. And we have to advocate for inclusive educational policies, raise awareness, and promote collaboration to create a supportive environment for students with SLDs. It is true that learning disabilities have no cure, but early intervention can lessen their effects. With learning, people with learning disabilities can develop ways to cope with their disabilities. Getting help earlier increases the chance of success in school and later in life. When disabilities remain untreated, a child may begin to feel frustrated, which can lead to low self esteem and other problems. Experts can help a child learn skills by building on the child's strengths and finding ways to compensate for the child's weakness. Intervention vary depending on the nature and extent of the disability. To ensure that the RPWD Act is implemented effectively, all stakeholders in the field of education and health will have to collaborate to set up sufficient number of assessment clinics, create sufficient number of special educators, and develop validated screening and assessment tools for diagnosing specific learning disabilities in all the regional languages of our country. To make India an SLD friendly country, active collaboration between all stakeholders in the field of education and healthcare is needed. The action points to achieve this include school trustees and principals should set up resource rooms with the school to ensure the students with SLD get the remedial education at an affordable cost. All students at age of 8 years should be screened for SLD and those who test positive should be referred to the nearest assessment clinic for evaluation. School counselors should play a proactive role to ensure that students with SLD do not feel stigmatized. Government medical colleges and hospitals, including those at district levels, should set up assessment clinics, and all universities related to the field of teacher education should start courses to create special educators and conduct research to develop validated screening and assessment tools for SLD in all the 22 regional languages of our country. Over the years, SLD in our country will get detected early. There would be adequate qualified special educators available, and the afflicted students will be able to avail timely remedial education to achieve academic competence. The path ahead is arduous but is achievable in the next decade with determined efforts from all stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So if anybody have any questions, they can raise their hands or they can write their queries in the chat box. We are open for queries now. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Chitra, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah. Would you be able to list out the assessment tools that you spoke about? Now, SLD, predominantly what is being used is the NIMHANS SLD, right?
Yeah, but that is not
But
readily
that's
available.
also, yeah, but that's also used mainly only up to grade 7.
Right,
So what we practically do is we use NIMHANS SLD, and we also use informal assessment techniques when we are doing the assessment.
right.
So other than that, is there any other formal assessment tool that we can use which is adapted for Indian situation?
Yeah, beyond 8th class, that is Sholapur's RF2. It is in English and in Marathi.
And how is it available? Where is it available?
We can go to the psychological kits agencies like Psychometrics, and
Hmm.
we can get it from there.
Okay, you will just
And
mention it in the
also,
chat
this
box.
is from AIMS.
Okay,
This is a specific learning disability comprehensive diagnostic battery by Professor Manju Mehta and Rajesh Sagar. And this
okay,
is by AIMS doctor. These are AIMS doctor, and they developed this thing in 2018.
okay, okay,
So this
okay,
is also readily available, and but again, this is up to the age of class 7, that is age of 14 years.
okay. Would you be able to just mention these two separately in the chat box so that we can just note it down the exact name so that we'll try and get it?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other queries? Any other questions? Okay, so if not, I would like to thank ma'am. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was a great pleasure to listen to your astute words and learn so much from the information addressed by you. I would take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of our entire institution and students who were captivated by your expert information. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I would like to call upon Miss Komal Chaudhary, ma'am, Assistant Professor from our Ministry of Education, for vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. It is with great pleasure and gratitude that I am delivering a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of Army Institute of Education for the successful conduct of the national webinar. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all who have played important role in making the event successful. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our esteemed resource persons who graced us with their knowledge and expertise. A special thanks to the dedicated team of technical staff, our management, anchors, and all the dear participants. In conclusion, I would like to thank each and every one of you who contributed to the success of this event. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I would like to conclude this beautiful and insightful webinar by paying respect to our nation by singing national anthem. I would
Okay,
request everyone. Yeah.
Devika ma'am, just hold on. Komal ma'am, have you shared the link of the quiz and the feedback
I'm
form?
sharing.
And please tell about the quiz also to all the participants.
Yes. Dear participants, I'm going to share the quiz link and feedback cum certificate link. Please fill your name, designation, working organization correctly. The certificate will be automatically generated in 2 days. So I'm giving you 5 minutes time to please fill quiz link and feedback cum certificate form link.
The link is now reflecting on the chat box.
Those who have already filled the quiz, there is no need to fill this again. The quiz is accepting only one response. We will share the quiz link and feedback cum certificate link in WhatsApp group also, and to your mentioned mail ID also.
Yes. So now I would like everyone to pay respect to our nation by singing the national anthem. I would request everyone to stand in attention and sing along the national anthem. Thank you.
I would like to request all participants to please switch on your camera for group photograph.
हो जाएगा हो जाएगा it will be there
Thank you, everyone. And now we conclude the session. Thank you. You all can disperse now. Thank you so much.